Everyone thinks spiritual wisdom comes from sitting alone. Baal HaSulam proved they're wrong. In the early 1900s, a man named Yehuda Ashlag, known to students as Baal HaSulam, wasn't meditating in isolation. He was writing letters, hundreds of them, to students, to seekers, to people confused about the meaning of their lives. And in those letters lay something most people miss entirely: the actual mechanics of how a human being changes. But here's the catch. Most of us assume wisdom is about knowing more, collecting facts, memorizing teachings, getting smarter. That's not what Baal HaSulam's letters teach at all. So what did he actually believe was the point of studying Kabbalah? He believed, and wrote this repeatedly, that the whole purpose of authentic Kabbalah was to transform your desire, not to escape the world, not to become holy in some detached way, but to rewire what you actually want, so that instead of wanting things for yourself alone, you could want them for others too. That's radical, because it means Kabbalah isn't mysticism for its own sake. It's a practical technology for undoing the core illusion that keeps us suffering, the belief that our happiness depends only on ourselves. And Baal HaSulam knew from experience that this belief is hardwired into us. So how do you actually change it? Through study, yes, but not the kind you think. Baal HaSulam taught that when you study authentic Kabbalah texts with the right intention, something shifts in you at a level beneath conscious thought. The texts themselves have a force. They are designed to awaken a desire in you for connection, for unity, for love of others. He called this the light that reforms. Not punishment, not judgment, just a gentle, persistent force that pulls you toward wanting what's good for others. But here's what most people get wrong about his letters. He never promised it would feel good. In fact, he warned the opposite. As you begin to study with this intention, you'll feel resistance. You'll feel your ego fighting back. You'll notice yourself wanting to quit or to twist the teachings into something that serves your old desires. That struggle, that's not a sign you're doing it wrong. It's the whole point. Because Baal HaSulam understood something essential. You can't think your way into loving others. Your intellect alone can't override the egoic wiring. You have to create conditions where that desire can be born in you. And those conditions come from studying texts written by people who have already made the journey. Now, one of the most misunderstood ideas in his letters is about free will. Baal HaSulam didn't teach that you have unlimited choice. He taught something harder and more honest. You're free to choose your environment and your studies. Everything else flows from that. Choose to surround yourself with people seeking the same transformation. Choose to study texts that carry the force of correction. Choose to be part of a group with a shared intention. Make those choices, and the rest, the actual inner change, unfolds naturally. But what about the person who feels completely alone? Baal HaSulam addressed this directly in his letters. He said loneliness doesn't disqualify you. In fact, he taught that we're all fundamentally alone in our inner work. But that aloneness isn't a prison. It's where the deepest transformation happens, in the gap between who you are and who you're becoming. And this connects to another core idea in his letters, the concept of the upper world. Most people think upper world means heaven or some mystical realm separate from here. Baal HaSulam didn't teach that. He taught that the upper world is a state of consciousness you enter when your desires align with serving others. It's not somewhere else. It's a shift in perception that happens when you stop seeing yourself as separate from the whole. In his letters, he describes it as moving from a state of reception alone to a state of reception and bestowal. You begin to give as well as receive, and that balance changes everything. But Baal HaSulam was also brutally realistic. In his letters, he acknowledged that this transformation is not easy. It runs counter to everything our ego wants. It feels unnatural because, in our current state, it is. So he offered something practical, a framework for measuring your progress. Don't measure yourself by how spiritual you feel. Don't measure yourself by visions or mystical experiences. Measure yourself by one thing: How much do you genuinely care about the well-being of others? Not in theory, in your actual daily choices. That's the real metric. This is where his letters become almost prophetic for our time. He wrote about a world where technology would connect us all, where information would be everywhere, but where people would feel more isolated than ever. Sound familiar? He said the answer wasn't to disconnect. It was to use that connection intentionally. Use technology, community, study, and practice to build something new inside yourself. A desire that's larger than your personal survival. A wish for others to flourish that's as real as your wish for yourself. That's what Baal HaSulam's letters are really about. Not escaping life, transforming it from the inside out. So when you ask why Baal HaSulam's letters still matter today, the answer is simple. Because the core problem hasn't changed. We're still trapped in the illusion that we're separate. We're still suffering from it. And we still have the same tool available: authentic wisdom, study, intention, and community. The path is as real now as it was 100 years ago. Subscribe so you don't miss the next exploration of authentic Kabbalah, where the real work of transformation begins.